In March of 2020, I finally started pursuing a passion project of mine, one that encapsulates all that I love, from horror, action, and the 2000s. And with its first story arc finally complete, I think it's time to take you through a tour of Alice Darksin. Alice Darksin is an action horror webcomic series, available to read on Webtoon, Tapas, and Newgrounds. It is inspired by the horror genre in 2000s media. Think of it as a mix between a 2000s action cartoon and a hack-and-slash video game that pushed the horrors. 500 years ago, the world was the closest it ever was to world peace. That is until the Fearlings arrived. Fearlings are monsters that take the form of different phobias. They have no need to eat or sleep, and seemingly have an instinct to hunt all organic life and destroy all they touch. They brought the human civilization to near extinction, but the humans have discovered a new type of power. Each person can control a different element, but this power isn't unlimited and needs to be recharged by physically ingesting the same element they control. This power is called cannibalism. Cannibalism refers to one eating the same species that they are, but the power of cannibalism is eating what you control. But due to humans lacking the knowledge of what the power of cannibalism was capable of, and the endless number of Fearlings, all they could do was run to the only place that so far was free of Fearlings, the kingdom of GOTHINDEL. People from all across the world would flee to the kingdom, but it would too be victim of the Fearlings, if it wasn't for some miracle. The kingdom rose up into the clouds, which gave the people enough time to set up new defenses and learn how to control their powers. For many years, no one knows exactly what caused the kingdom to rise up, not even its own people. For 500 years, this kingdom has been all that's left of humanity, the last 1% of the population. Schools now educate children in how to use their powers and hunt Fearlings that sneak into the kingdom. As they graduate, they become soldiers of GOTHINDEL. Starting as level 1 interns, they must prove their worth and gain experience to be promoted to advanced soldiers, then professional soldiers, and maybe, just maybe, become one of the 8 Knights of the Dead Table. Some make it their life goal to go up the ranks, while others are more concerned about the safety of the kingdom and dedicate their lives to protecting their homeland for as long as they can. While there are a lot of new graduate level 1 interns, the series focuses on one violent buff goth and her team, Alice Darksin and Team Violence. Who is Alice Darksin? Alice Darksin is a violence-loving buff goth chick. She loves tearing monsters apart, getting into fights, and revels in all forms of destruction with a giant grin on her face. Though she lacks common sense and a filter, so she often says disturbing things without thinking, or says something that might be seen as rude. She's not a bad person, she just loves violence and lacks the common sense to know what she should and shouldn't say. Alice is the only person in GOTHINDEL's recorded history to wield blood cannibalism. I suppose in this case, she's also a literal cannibal. By burning the blood inside her body, she is able to gain superhuman strength. Here's a fun fact. See these red lines and orbs coming out of her body? They were inspired by the lines that used to be associated with Cartoon Network, usually during Cartoon Fridays or the early days of CN City. But anyway, if you see these lines and orbs coming out, that's her using her power. Whenever you see her throw a punch without these lines, that's her raw strength without the boost of her abilities. So take note, when you're reading Alice Darksin, pay attention to when the red lines show up, because that is when Alice is really putting her power into it. Her team consists of her childhood friend, Zen Vasquez. Zen wields shadow cannibalism, which is often used for escape and stealth, but Zen has found ways to make it more offensive. Though not soon enough, as he was killed by a Fearling in high school, but was brought back to life thanks to one of the 8 Knights of the Dead Table named the Good Doctor. He saved him using an experimental stitching that lowers sensitivity of the body and accelerates the body's cells, meaning he can survive having his limbs ripped off or even decapitation, and as long as he gets everything reattached within a certain time frame, the stitches will put everything back together. Zen himself suffers from some insecurities and a rough past, but he tries to hide it with his other personality traits, such as his dark sense of humor and how he's not the brightest tool in the shed. Lastly, there's Kai Rain, one of Alice's greatest rivals and Zen's girlfriend. Zen and Kai met when they were in high school, as the two hit it off thanks to both of them having a dark sense of humor. Kai is the smartest member of the team, though sometimes she can get carried away, which causes her to make rash decisions. She is the most responsible one of the team, and the one with the most lethal experience, as her family line is famous for being assassins to hunt down those who wish to tear down the kingdom, whether that be villains or treasonous members from the inside. Kai has water cannibalism. Those who wield physical elements are considered crafters. As long as they have the knowledge and power, they can morph their elements into anything it'll allow. Kai uses this by creating sharp blades made out of water, whether that be knives, swords, or throwing stars. It makes sense that Kai would favor making blades with her element, as she was raised to be a ninja. In the first arc, we saw the strengths and weaknesses of each member. Alice is strong, quick, and doesn't pull any punches, but her reaction time is kinda slow. Zen is the fastest member of the team, with some range to his abilities, but is physically and mentally the weakest. Kai is stealthy, powerful, resourceful, and observant, but she can make rash decisions, and her body can't take a hit like Alice or Zen's can, hence why she's covered in scars. They make up for each other's weaknesses, but throughout the story, they'll not only work through these weaknesses, but also learn that they might not be the only weaknesses that they have. The first story arc. The story arc is called The Grand Walking Theater. Alice and her team are invited by Hexap, a member of the 8 Knights of the Dead table, to go investigate paranormal activity in the basement, Gothindel's lower quarters. They get separated as Kai and Hexap are sent to the Desire nightclub and find that there's something strange with the partygoers. Zen gets sent to an abandoned hotel, as he's not the only one lurking in the shadows. And Alice is the only one who makes it to their destination, and prepares to face off against a paranormal entity that controls the Grand Walking Theater, the self-righteous phantom who wants her to stay for his eternal encore. I don't want to go over too much for those who want to read the story for themselves, so let's just move on to the next part. As of 2023, we'll begin the second story of the Soldiers of Gothindel. Each story is meant to be only a few chapters long, as they connect to a massive overarching story. You'll find out more about Gothindel, the Fearlings, and the secrets that both hold. The art style is going to change as well, as when the series started in 2020, my art was a bit different, with a single thick outline and black shading. Now my style uses different line sizes depending on what they're around and its perspective, and colored shading is also applied. Some details are also altered for the sake of making the series easier to work on, including the rips on Alice's jeans. Originally I did 7-page updates, but I think we're going to shorten to 3 updates to make sure the series comes out more frequently. I'll also be doing development streams on this channel, as you can watch me work on Alice Darksin and even ask questions as I work. To go along with the series, we're creating video-based bios of each soldier and every aspect of the series. This series of videos will even show behind-the-scenes content, trivia, and cut content, so be sure to stay tuned if you want to learn more about Alice Darksin. Thank you all so much for watching. Links to Alice Darksin are in the description below. And remember, your connection will be strange.